Hello again. For those of you who are new here, I'm Kristen Noel, founder of Intuitive Divorce, a coaching program that helps mamas save time, money, and heartache for themselves and their kids and divorce differently. This work is an absolute labor of love for me. I'm a divorce survivor who once stood where you stand, feeling many of the same things you're feeling. And nothing gives me more pleasure than to walk beside other women and help them avoid the unnecessary pitfalls of the process and instead heal and get the outcomes they desire. It's possible. I'm popping in here with my fabulous team member and boundary badass, wise, and wonderfully talented coaching partner, Joe Young. We just finished a class in our inner circle coaching group and have decided that we're going to get more active here and share more of the wisdom and strategies that come up each week with you in the hopes that it can help you along your divorce journey. Today, we picked up where we left off in class last week, part 2 of fear. And we honestly could do an entire course on fear, especially in divorce. The previous week, when we asked women in our group what was the biggest fear they were contending with, the answer was almost unanimously finances. So today, we built upon that, which I think is a really good place to start, Joe. What do you think?
Totally agree. You and I say all the time that all of these topics that we talk about are divorce topics, and they're also life topics, So I loved class today. Our mamas that showed up were on fire with their questions, with their thoughts, with their fears. We started this class with a beautiful grounding, how to get safe into nervous system regulation, which is so important anytime we bring up topics that can spur fear. So I loved the beginning all the way to the end.
Yeah, I'm not going to let you gloss over that because that was really, really powerful. So, one of the things that we do in this group and in our classes, obviously we're touching on salient points, the stuff that's coming up in divorce. But it's not just about pointing out the obvious, right? And everybody knows they're going to have to deal with their lawyer and they're going to have to deal with their finances. They're going to have to deal with their kids, but there's so much that happens in between. So just actually getting into a sacred space where we can kind of unpack the feelings and just kind of acknowledge and be seen and witness and figure out what we can do to get through it. It's not about like shoving it aside or pretending there isn't fear. We just unpack it. So today, I loved how we started class where we really just acknowledged all the energy that's attached to money, finances, how it can trigger us. And Joe is just so good at like always honing us back in and like saying, okay, so what are we going to do with that? How are we going to calm our nervous system? How are we going to get back to safety? So we started with that discussion. Then Joe led us through some, I guess, nervous system regulation modalities. I mean, this was music to my ears because this is where we interrupt. It's not about being able to necessarily solve a problem in that moment, but it's about getting back in your body so that you can deal with it differently. So you can approach it, right?
Yes. Our
Will
bodies
you talk
are
about
the
that? Like talk about,
container.
yeah.
Yes. Our bodies are the container of everything that we're experiencing, is held in our bodies. And so when our bodies don't feel safe, it is literally that runaway train that we talked about last week, that our thoughts and our fears and our feelings and all of that can just take us down a rabbit hole that we don't want to be on. And so how do we find these moments? And I literally mean moments where we can just stop the chaos that's occurring on the inside and recognize that we're in a state of nervous system dysregulation, that we're in that state where we're feeling the tension and all the things in our body, and pause. And what we really do is teach some techniques that take literal moments to be able to bring us back to safety. Because without that, we don't think clearly. Our emotions run wild, and it completely can throw us into a fear spiral. So it's so important to have these techniques and these small ways to just, for instance, can I take a moment and just take some deep breaths, put my feet on the ground and breathe deeply? How can I bring myself back into balance? so that I'm able to think clearly. Because to your point, Kristen, we're never going to avoid these things. We're never going to avoid the fear, the feelings, all of the things that come up as these, as these women are navigating a really huge change in their lives. We're not going to avoid them, and we don't want to bypass them. But what we do want to do is be able to process them and think about them clearly.
It really is also about giving yourself permission to just walk away for a second
Yeah.
and the power in that, right? It's not like I'm putting my head in the sand. I'm actually tapping into deep wisdom and discernment, which is I am not in the shape or state of mind that I want to be in to deal with these big decisions or to talk to my kids or to respond to my triggering narcissistic ex. I know when I get triggered at my desk, it's like, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to go get a cup of tea, or I'm going to go outside. I'm going to play with my dog. I mean, there's a million things. You got to know what works for you. But I loved how you brought us through this breathing technique, which, what is it? Alternating nostril breathing. And it was funny because when we first did that, and I've done a lot of breathing techniques before, I've never done that one. Initially, I actually started laughing at myself, which is great because it just took me out of whatever chaos was going on. I started laughing at myself because I realized how much I had to concentrate because I started breathing out of my mouth and I was like, no, I'm supposed to be breathing out of the right side and the left side of the right, but it just, even that, it was just like, it's just an interruption that just is like the nervous system forgets where you had let it 5 seconds ago, right? And then the next one where you were doing the self-soothing, maybe you want to just talk about that because that one
Yeah.
really brought me to tears.
Mm. Yeah, it's a havening technique is what that's called, and you can look it up and Google it to get more information. But it's basically, what we do when we want to soothe a child. We'll gently rub them on the back, or we'll rub them on the arm, or whatever the case may be. And this is a way to do this for yourself, where you literally just go from your shoulders to your elbows, and you just do this gentle stroking motion, giving yourself some really beautiful affirmations, thanking our bodies for all that they do and carry for us. It's about building this relationship to self. And that means relationship to our bodies in a different way. But this just allows my brain waves actually to drop into a delta wave, which is brings up relaxation and can literally decrease anxiety, depression, all of those things. And as simple as that, you know? And people will say, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to do these other things. And this is such a quick way to just say, thank you, body, for showing me what you wanted to show me today. And I'm safe. And it's amazing how much it changes the nervous system and immediately puts us into a state of calm.
Yeah. Stop putting yourself at the bottom of the totem pole, right?
That's right.
And it
That's
was
right.
literally seconds, just seconds. It's just an interruption. It's a self-soothing, nurturing, calming modality that just literally shifts everything. So I was so grateful. So we did that today with class, which was amazing because it really set the tone, because then we had a special guest who came in who was an expert in the financial arena, guiding women through the money weeds of divorce. Then we just got into, tactical strategy, and it was really powerful. And guess what? The two go together. That is like the whole premise and tenet of this program. Because, like, yes, we're gonna deal and get you through all this stuff that you got to get through, but that doesn't mean that you have to bypass all and dismiss the self-nurturing, the self-care, the self-love, your intuition, your gut. This is what's going to really help you get through all these other big decisions that you have to make.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a vital part of it. We have to take care of the wholeness of us, which means all the technical strategies, all the things that you have to do, but also how I feel about it, what I'm thinking about it. That's what shifts the experience of it. So, we can go through the same routines and all the things that are required to go through this process, but how we think about it and how we feel about it ultimately is completely up to us and within our agency, no matter what's happening. So it's a vital part of the process. And I love the fact that we do this and make it such an integral part and an experiential part of our group.
Was there anything that surprised you today about class or any of the
Oh,
reactions?
yeah. So many. I wrote down so many nuggets today. I loved it. Just some practical tips around sometimes women feel like that they need to jump out and make all these lifestyle changes right from the get-go when they're entering a divorce process. And actually hearing them say today, take a beat. Know why you're making the changes and why you aren't, and why it might be a good idea and why it isn't. I love their talk around confidence. That was a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
Getting our head out of the sand, as you put it. Knowledge is power. So empowering ourselves with the knowledge of where we are financially really builds confidence to take the next step and the next step and the next step, and feel confident in the choices and decisions that you're making. Such a huge game changer. Speaking of changing the
Yeah.
experience.
So empowering. It really also transforms your relationship to money going forward.
Yeah. And a lot of times we don't think about it being a relationship, right? And it is exactly that.
Self-worth,
and you think about
net worth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Self-worth and net worth. And you think about what it takes to build any relationship. You got to see it. You want to see it for what it is. You want to build trust with it. You want to spend time with it. And so I love thinking about it that way.
And I loved really the overall message of owning your worth.
Yes.
Owning your worth.
Owning your worth. It's a huge part of finances. And believe it or not, how we feel about money starts from the moment we arrive on this planet. It starts with all of the conditioning and the things that were taught, things that were said, things that were unsaid, all of that. So there's a lot to unpack. But the bottom line is, even people who have never taken responsibility for their finances before, it's not too late. It's not too late to pick your head up, become informed, know what you are worth, what you deserve, and then learn how to bring yourself to safety so that you can take the steps to move into that. Beautiful class.
Yeah, I know. It was so exciting. I love it. And you never know what's going to come up, what's going to come out. This really is about emotional healing. And at the same time, we always use the term becoming the CEO of your divorce, because it's also so empowering for a woman, especially if she's had a lot of financial triggers in her life or in her marriage or in her career, to begin to look at this and to own your worth, and to be able to look at your divorce also as a business decision, not just an emotional one.
Oh, I love that you said that, because I felt like that was one of the most powerful things that was said today, was recognizing that when you get into the weeds of your finances, it really is a business decision, not an emotional one. And so as women in particular, we're often buried deep in guilt and I'm the one that's supposed to make everybody feel better and all of that. And it's like, this is really a step towards learning how to put yourself and what you want and what you need and what you desire at the forefront.
Absolutely. Well, it was a beautiful class. And I love how you led us through. I don't even know what to call it. What did you lead us through? It was like, it's got to have a tagline here. Whatever it was, yes. It felt really good. It felt really good.
Yeah. Self-nurturing. I mean, that's really what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So thank you, my friend. That was wonderful.
Oh my gosh. My pleasure always. And I love watching all of the mamas today in class walk away a little more calm, a little more safe, and a little more empowered with knowledge.
Absolutely. Even what was really remarkable, and I'll just leave it this, is that sometimes we're so quick to just say, oh, equitable distribution is just going to be, it's really simple. My finances aren't that complicated. You want to make sure sometimes it's actually not as simple as you think. You want to make sure that you're not making uninformed, unempowered decisions.
Yes, intention is key. Know why you're making the decisions that you're making and what it means for you, not just today, but long term.
So on that note, we're just gonna let's just get more active here together. And if there's something that you're struggling with, leave a comment below. You can learn more about our work over at intuitivedivorce.com and make sure you're on our newsletter list, which you can also join from the website. We send out lots of great info each week that'll guide you through your divorce, dealing with your kids, your money, your emotions, and best yet, your healing. And if you're ready, you can also book a free strategy call with us. We'd love to chat.
And you won't regret it.
Nope. We'll see you back here next week. We are committed.
Right.
Okay. Week 2,
Yes.
Joe. We did it.
I know. We did it.
Love it.
Bye.